must obey God strictly. Counsels for the Church, page 268, paragraph 5. Ellen White writes, the history of God's dealing with his people in all ages shows that he requires exact obedience. Go into that hospital, ease suffering. Whatever compensation comes your way, give it to the church. You're not supposed to be paid for what's done on the Sabbath. You can't remember the Sabbath day, keep it holy while you're working on the Sabbath.
Right.
That's like washing your hands and drying it in dirt. You can't do that.
Right.
The commandment says, in it thou shalt not do any work. Now Jesus says it is lawful to do good.
Right.
He never said it's lawful to work. In the book Medical Missionary, page 216, paragraph 2, Ellen White advised doctors and nurses, if you have to go in, do what's necessary to ease human suffering. Whatever money is given to you, give it to the church. Because you're not supposed to be paid for that. Let me tell you something else that's frightening. When God sent manna, how many days did he send it? 6 days. What are the days? Sunday through Friday. What was the purpose of the manna?
So that they're...
To keep them alive. They had nothing to eat. They were complaining. They were dying of starvation. The manna is a living. Are you with me? Keeps you alive. It did not come on the Sabbath.
Right.
So if you're making a living on the Sabbath, who is sending it? Because God does not provide on the Sabbath. He doubles up on
The
Friday, not on Sabbath. So if you're making a living on the Sabbath, it is not from God.
Wow.
You listen to me. We have to be serious about God. Are you with me? You can't negotiate. If you negotiate the Sabbath, you can negotiate commandment 7, thou shalt not commit adultery. And you can say, in my society, there are 4 women for every man, so let me help society. The moment you rationalize one commandment, you've opened the door to rationalize any of the other 9. We must obey God strictly. Counsels for the Church, page 268, paragraph 5. Ellen White writes, the history of God's dealing with his people in all ages shows that he requires exact obedience. Go into that hospital, ease suffering. Whatever compensation comes your way, give it to the church. You're not supposed to be paid for what's done on the Sabbath.
I'm sorry, and I guess that answers the second question. Part of the question was, well, what if like someone's supposed to be working on that day, but she's off on the Sabbath, but the person gets sick or has to take care of someone who is sick in their home, then she would get called in. Should she go in or should she not? So I guess your answer would be whatever money she makes on the Sabbath.
Ease someone's suffering.
Right.
People have to be fed on the Sabbath. Are you with me? People have to take medication on the Sabbath. No problem. They don't work on the Sabbath.
Right.
If your husband is sick, would you feed him on the Sabbath? Would you give him his medication? Is that working? No. Listen to me. Strict obedience is the secret.